Hi, this is Mark from Altcoin Buzz. I'm really excited to get to the charts today. I'm starting to feel like 2017 all over again. I'm going to show you the charts from Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and XRP. And I'm going to show you the target and the path to seeing Bitcoin get to 13.5 potentially here in the next week or so. Before I start, I do want to remind you, follow me on crypto_old on Twitter. I do TA throughout the week there. And so if I'm not able to make a video, you'll see some of those charts come through on Twitter if you follow me there. Crypto_old. All right, let's get started on the charts. All right, Bitcoin on a 12-hour chart. I wanted to show you the Fibonacci right now as it lays out from the top of last year as we entered into 2018 at that $20,000. That 382 Fibonacci, which many of you know I hate, and we were kind of lined up there going into this run, but we broke right through it, and that 50% level is set right at 11.5 right now. So, and let's just talk about kind of how all these things are lining up. So we've got the Fibonacci at the 50% level, right? And if we take the measured move like we talked about, that was 22% out of that flag. Call it 22% out of that flag that we were looking at on the 4-hour chart to see if it was going to form, and it did, and we broke up, right? Like we had talked about. So here, now we take the measured move up to that 22%, it puts us right at that 500% Fibonacci. I'm sorry, the 50% Fibonacci. So all of that is lining up pretty well. There's a lot of confluence there. We're getting some very nice volume coming back into Bitcoin. So that FOMO that everybody thought was going to kick in around $10,000 certainly looks like it has. If we're going to continue to stair step up to $20,000, then I would expect some activity to happen up in here at this 11.5. It completes our measured move right in that area and should give us some fair resistance. You can see we double topped over there in 2008, kind of February, beginning of March of 2018. We double topped there. So that would be a logical area to see some fairly decent resistance, but you know, we've been blowing through resistance lately on Bitcoin, so that may not hold up, but let's just see. So this is kind of the high volume node area right here. Look, if we break through that 11.5, that 50%, there is a huge gap there up to the 618 at 13.5. Theoretically, if we can break out of this zone, out of this 11.5 zone, there's a pretty clear path up to the 13.5 area. Very, very exciting. Now, this is one of those areas that you want to be careful about jumping into resistance, right? This is going to be an area of resistance for us. And so that is an area that I would be cautious jumping into right now. Certainly if we break this 11.5, that would be a good entry point, even, you know, from a high standpoint, right? That would be a very good entry point because I think you got a couple $1,000 run there that's pretty easy. At this point in time, I want to see kind of how we react to this resistance at $11,000. I wouldn't be too surprised if during this time frame right now we start seeing just a little bit of a slowdown. Our momentum indicators are still looking very strong. However, we're coming into the weekend, right? We could potentially see a little bit of a pullback here. If we zoom in here just a little bit, what I don't want to see happening here is I don't want to see us drop below that $9,900 area. You can see there's a little bit of a high volume node there, not super strong. On a pullback, I wouldn't want to see us, you know, drop below this range, right? This 10.2 to 95. Our corrections have been somewhere between 7 and 11%, so call it 9. If we were to get rejected from in here and we went down 9%, and that's going to put us back into that 98.5. So see, that's the area that I think we need to stay in, is kind of where that high volume node is at the 98 or 99. We've had that kind of a correction or pullback before, so none of that would make me nervous. It also wouldn't surprise me in this level. Bitcoin's kind of been doing the opposite of what it theoretically should be doing to some extent, and right now it should be finding resistance here, but I'm not going to be surprised if it just keeps running up. I mean, you're looking at significant, this is on the 4-hour time frame, you're looking at significant volume that's jumped into the market over just the last 8 hours, right? So even if we pull back to just this area on volume over the weekend, we could still continue to see a run up. So right now, I wouldn't want to be counter trading against Bitcoin. Taking a look at Ethereum on the 1-day chart, broke out of this resistance area. This was a pretty significant resistance for Ethereum at 273. This area would potentially be an area of resistance. It doesn't look like it's going to be strong resistance. You can see this is the high volume node here coming in right at about 315. Now, again, another large gap for Ethereum, just like in Bitcoin. If you break above that 315 gap is all the way up to 350, 360. And if we go back historically, there was not any kind of resistance coming back down. So this area has been untested for resistance. Take it back up to the next resistance area. You've got a $400 target here and not too far away. So above average volume coming into Ethereum, not quite as much as Bitcoin, obviously, but you still have some very nice volume coming in. If it can maintain this volume level or above average, which it looks like we kind of dropped below, took a little dip on volume today, but if we can get back up above this average, then you would break through this resistance that's coming up here. Very weak as a resistance area, but it may just take a little bit more time for Ethereum to break through that. All right, so we're taking a look at Litecoin right now. It looks like Litecoin has established some decent support here in this area, right about, call it 133, somewhere in there. Although on the VPVR, we would take that up. It looks like it's kind of found support at 135. Not as much clear space on Litecoin as we've seen on Bitcoin and Ethereum. If we do break above this resistance box, the next high volume node is at 160, and that'd be an area of resistance that we would have. So this whole area is some decent resistance for Litecoin to get above. So what you're looking to see is if Litecoin can get above 145 and maintain the support of about 135, and then it has to break above 150. If it can break above that 150 area, you'll be looking at the next swing high right in here. This would probably be the next logical area that I'd be looking at as a target, is right in here, coming in at about 181. Okay, so taking a look at Bitcoin Cash on the one-day chart, Bitcoin Cash is having a very tough time. It's struggling against this resistance area here, but it's looking like it's forming an ascending triangle. On this rise up, this ascending triangle means buying pressure. If it breaks to the upside, if it's going to, it really should happen here in the next day. We should see this happen tomorrow, certainly by Monday, opening Monday, if it's going to break to the upside or not. And the reason that I say that is because typically if this is an ascending triangle or ends up being an ascending triangle, then theoretically it's going to break up about 65 to 75% into that triangle, which we are at right now. So this is where you'd like to see BCH break through that resistance area right now. The only way to keep this ascending triangle in place is if BCH drops down further, back down into this range somewhere about 399. Then that triangle would extend out. The bounce up from there then would be theoretically 65 to 75%. This is the area that you really want to see BCH hold, is right here in this area of about 417, because you've had some resistance there and you had some support there. So if this starts to break down again, right there to 405 is kind of where you want to see BCH hold to have any kind of chance of breaking back above that resistance and going on the next run. Now your next high volume area is about 515, somewhere in there. That lines up with this area of lots of liquidity back in this area back here. That's theoretically your next resistance area. Breaking down from this ascending support line, if you break below that, you really don't have any support coming in until right in this area, this high volume trading area of 307. You've got another one that if that doesn't hold at about 290, and then from there it's a free fall back to the swing low at about 231. So now you just want to see what happens, right? You're getting below average volume. Some of the other coins are getting above average volume, so they're probably taking away from a little bit of the attention from Bitcoin Cash here, and that's why it's struggling in this area. So Bitcoin Cash really needs to get some volume coming back into it and get above average volume like some of the other coins are seeing to break out of that resistance. Okay, as we look at XRP on the one-day chart, we've been trading in this area on XRP, and it's hitting resistance, much like BCH is doing right now. And much like BCH, it has a pretty clear run. If it can break above this resistance line, you're going to be looking to target back in this area at about 51, 52 cents. I'm getting some direct messages, people saying, win moon on XRP. I mean, you got one thing you've got to remember. Let's just go to CoinGecko right now. If you look at where XRP is in total circulating supply compared to some of the other coins that we're seeing move, it's 42 billion coins that are circulating out there right now. You've got to have a ton of volume come into XRP. This is just the reality of the numbers, you guys. It's not that I don't like XRP. I hold XRP, but it's the moves that XRP is going to make are going to need significant volume to come behind it to get any kind of significant lift, right? So we're just getting kind of average volume right now in this trading range. And that's what we're going to want to see, is this above average volume to the positive side to break out and go above. If you can break out of this resistance right now, target these swing highs as your first kind of area of resistance to see how it reacts there between 55 and 56 cents. Then you've got another high volume trading area right in here, high volume node at about 67 cents, which lines up in here. That shouldn't be too difficult to get across. And so then you'd be targeting your next swing high that's in this, 90 cent range, somewhere in there, 80 to 90 cent range. So you can see what kind of volume you need to get these kind of nice rises up to start breaking through these resistance areas that we talked about. You're obviously trading in this range, so a breakdown from here is back down to 39 cents, a breakdown of 39, call it actually 36 cents, and you're ending up in that 32 to 29, 32 to 30 cent range. Not too unreasonable to think that XRP could just get rejected here again and get back down to 40 and continue to trade in the sideways range that you have between 40 and 50 cents, somewhere in there. Right now, the reality is XRP and BCH are just struggling against the attractiveness of some of these other coins like Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin. I mean, there's prettier girls in the room right now, and it's showing up in the charts. So that'll wrap it up for today. Please leave some comments below if there's some other coins that maybe you're looking at that you want us to look at. We'll try and do that. If there's something else that you want us to talk about, maybe some of kind of the TA tools, let me know and we'll try and get to those as well. And also go to altcoinbuzz.io. Our writers write throughout the week. Every day there's something coming out about the fundamentals in the market, some of the projects that are coming up, all kinds of stuff. They're staying on top of it for you. So go check it out at altcoinbuzz.io. And until next time, may all your trades be good ones.